My name is Matthew Weiss. I'm a mixing engineer, and you can find me at www.weiss-sound.com. I get a thrill from knowing that I can make people's imaginations and what they dream of their music come into reality. They hear something in their head, but they don't have the technical ability to get it out, and I can get it out. Hip-hop mixing is different than mixing in a traditional sense, and I think a reason why a lot of people have trouble finding a good mixing engineer for hip-hop and why the producers tend to do it themselves is because it's not really about the sound and what you hear. It's more about the feeling of it and the attitude, and so you don't get in touch with the ear the same way. You get in touch with like the guts of it, and if it feels right, that's when it's right. Even if sonically it could be totally crazy and all sorts of problems and whatever, but when you hear it, it's got to give you that feeling, and that's the specialty of hip-hop mixing. How do I get an artist's voice to translate? It's in the capture, and it's in finding their little specific moments. If you listen to a voice, everyone has a certain specialty in their delivery and their articulation, and their choice, or even for a producer, their choice of instruments or melody lines, and you find those little things that they chose to just add that special something, and you highlight that, and that subconsciously kind of translates the personality of the rapper or the singer or the producer, and gives that cue to the listener to know, oh, this is this person, because they do those little things. I always have somebody in mind when I'm producing a track or when I'm assisting the production for a track. I also don't really sit. I work with musicians and I flesh out the idea maybe on a MIDI keyboard, but then I'll sit down with like an actual cellist and say, this is what I'm going for, but I want this emotion in it, something you can't necessarily get. I don't want to deal with sample clearance, so I kind of recreate the sample if I can do that. I heard a couple of my mixes on the radio and played out in some clubs, and that was really eye-opening. It showed me what I was doing really well versus things that I could make better. Well, actually, I've been doing this since about 2002, which is close to the 90s. I want people to remember me as that motherfucker. Nobody can mix a hip-hop record or a club record like I can. Most of the time, the people who are mixing those records are the producers, and they're brilliant, and what they do is fantastic. But they're not technical, and they're also trapped in their own frame of reference. I can step outside that and take their vision and make it even beyond that.